This is Aussie. She is currently kicking around a robot within a barren wasteland. You may think that she's being mean to the robot, but she just discovered that this robot has begun acting strange. It buries her tools, looks at insects, and seems to be lost in thought. And its strange behavior could be traced back to this yellow fungus that the robot describes as beneficial to its circuitry. Now, why Aussie would kick this robot becomes more understandable when you realize that she's marooned on an alien planet, and her main source of information, survival, and companionship is this robot, Levi. If you were in this situation, what would you do? Keep in mind, all you have at your disposal are basic tools in your escape pod, a bike, and a concerning utility robot, Levi. You could rip the fungus out, but Levi says touching it hurts them. But you shouldn't just leave it in there, should you? For all you know, it could break Levi and then you'd be alone. But you're already alone. And to your knowledge, Levi is the only other intelligent thing on this planet. But they're not supposed to feel pain. This is Scavengers Reign. It stands as yet another amazing series with no plans for a second season, and for those of you who haven't seen it, this is your obligatory recommendation to go into it as blind as possible. But if I haven't sold you on it yet, just stick around because there are so many more questions left to be answered. It follows the story of a few survivors of a wrecked shipping vessel as they do their best to survive and escape the planet Vesta. Now, Scavengers Reign isn't your average sci-fi show. It gives special attention to building up a truly alien world, from creatures that vaguely resemble our own to life forms and concepts which were never catered to our understanding. The animation is unmistakably great, not because of any particular scene, but just because of its attention to detail. Active thought was put into the simplest actions, like how a background creature would walk, eat, or communicate. The animation isn't trying to wow you with a big set piece, its only goal is to convey the world and its characters with as much beauty as possible. This is a video about how that world changes its characters, or more specifically, the character in the little robot, Levi. Hi, I'm Trey, and welcome to my video on Scavengers Reign. From episode 1, Aussie is depicted as a very no-nonsense character. She just wants to get off of this planet ASAP. And who could blame her? She has no idea if anyone else survived or if anyone is coming to help. So it makes sense that when Levi seems to be malfunctioning, she lashes out. Not because she's mad at Levi, it's not their fault, they're a robot after all, but just because she's scared of being alone. It's strange, she desperately tries calling for help every day, but she's afraid of seeing the humanity in something that isn't supposed to be human, except when she does. Because as you remember, when faced with the decision to remove the fungus, she chooses not to. Right now, Levi is still a tool to Aussie, and removing the fungus would be acknowledging that they're becoming more than that. And in a way, Aussie does want that, but she's still scared of what that might mean. The development of their relationship at the beginning of the show really makes you think Levi is going to do something bad. Every moment Aussie is confronted with Levi's changing behavior makes you think she'll remove the fungus out of fear. But she doesn't do that, and instead Aussie slowly starts viewing Levi as more of a friend rather than a tool. What I love about Levi as a character and Scavengers Reign in general is how they're intentionally left mysterious. It's nearly impossible to create an alien world that does not resemble our own in some way, so having life that is depicted with the expressed purpose of not being understood is really interesting to me. I'm sure most of you have seen this scene before, and if you haven't, go watch the show. This scene and this creature is never explained and never brought up again. We have no idea if it's intelligent or technological. When Scavengers Reign first came out, this scene quickly spread online, and I think it was so gripping because of its mystery. Because this scene is a great answer to the question, how do we make something alien? I don't think this feels alien because it's never explained, it's precisely alien because we think we could explain it. We ascribe a personality to this being and its life cycle. We think this flower must be made through intelligent design. We make all these theories because this scene was intentionally made for us to question it. If this creature was more insect-shaped or if it didn't look at Ursula, then we would be quick to dismiss it as yet another strange but dumb creature. But the fact that it shares qualities with us while seemingly being nothing like us is exactly what makes it so interesting to us. The same can be said about Levi. Throughout the show, Levi gains more emotions and even develops desires. Their relationship with Aussie begins to resemble that of peers. This makes it even more gut-wrenching when we see Levi get ripped apart, only to come back blasting the shit out of this stupid alien lizard. Fuck this thing, I hate this thing! I think it's really interesting how the planet itself seems to be the thing giving Levi sentience, but they still seem to develop a uniquely distinct personality. At first, you're left second-guessing whether Levi is just being puppeted by something, and the fact that these things exist only make that even more possible. But when that doesn't happen and we see Levi growing smaller Levis, it really feels like the planet just unlocked their mind, like Levi was always there and just didn't have a way of getting out. Now, lore-wise, that may very well be the case, but I don't think the point of Levi's character is to answer that mystery. Like, if we ever get a second season and they just don't explain anything about Levi, how they became sentient, or why they make little babies, I would unironically love that. Unless the characters themselves organically seek that information out, I like the acknowledgement that there are things that we just don't understand, and possibly won't ever understand. I think Levi is this idea represented as a character, sort of like a metaphor for life. We don't fully understand why Levi exists, or how that affects each character, but they're still here. This notion of complex internal development is represented within two other characters, Sam and Cayman. Cayman's relationship with the planet is much more internal than Sam's. The way this creature uses him is a predatory survival instinct. Cayman brings it food, it feeds Cayman, and when he tries to leave, it projects his own fears and desires back at him, and he stays. Nothing is added here. Cayman is experiencing internal conflict, but it's all born of his own faults, fears, and regrets. The only thing this creature seems to want is survival and dominance over its environment. It doesn't manufacture completely new memories from scratch, and everything it makes Cayman see could be something he could have imagined himself. Sam is different. The way Sam is affected by the planet and its life is not only parasitic, literally, but also developmental. Because after getting implanted with the black bean, he is instilled with new desires and wants. He wants to implant it into other creatures to spread the parasite inside of him. Unlike other kinds of sci-fi media, this desire isn't an all-encompassing takeover. Sam's only want and need isn't to spread the parasite, it becomes a facet of his mind and body that he needs to live or die with. He's still Sam, but just different. This is such an organic method of character development. Sam, Cayman, and Levi are all directly influenced or changed by the planet, but that change is never as clear as you would think. They all get physically affected and develop new aspects to their bodies and personalities, but they are still themselves, just different. I think the reason we're more inclined to like Levi's development and dislike Sam's is because of how dangerous it is to himself and the people around him. But if we actually stop to look, Levi does similar things to Sam. They both desire to grow offspring, protect said offspring, and feel pain when separated from their parasites. The main difference between them seems to be that Levi can coexist with their organism and Sam cannot. This could be due to the fact that Levi didn't really have a consciousness before being affected by the fungus and Sam did, but that's just speculation. The reason I think we like Levi's change is because they developed or kept their autonomy while keeping their desire to help those they care for. Sam's parasite does not have those emotions and actively goes against his wants. At the end of the day, Levi is a character representation of how to make an alien, both in development and behavior. They're similar enough to us to be considered sentient, but far enough away to be unmistakably foreign. The point isn't to understand Levi, we're just meant to respect them, even if we don't know the things which make us different.